Welcome to Airship Archaeology. Featuring Taylor, Isaac, and Sam. I am the announcer guy, and I'm excited to be here. On to the show.
Are you good?
I'm recording, yeah.
Okay. Three.
2.
Oh, sorry, you're delayed. Stop. Okay, start over. That's true. Okay. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, close enough. That's close enough. Okay. It's going to be just a joy to figure out.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I think we did a pretty good job.
Hey, the motto of this podcast is life is an adventure, and when that comes to podcast editing, it's no different.
That's the longest
Wait, is that the
motto
whole
ever.
thing, the motto? Yeah.
It's really verbose, but it's really truthful too. It's insightful.
That's right.
Can we get a flag with that on it?
Yes, I will design you a flag right now.
Sounds great.
I am a subscribing member of our Vexillology. I will.
I see you've also heard the Roman Mars TED Talk.
I did. I heard about it from the Hello Internet podcast, one of our hated rival podcasts, and they referenced it when they were talking about flags too.
Mm-hmm.
But yes.
What a good word, vexillology.
Yes. It's an even better word when you spell it right.
I said it right. Vexillology.
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 No, there's vexillology. Got it. I got it. I had to look it up, but vexillology.
Oh, there's 2 L's in it. That's exciting.
Yeah, well, there's 3.
Yes. There's LOL in it, too. It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Vexillology. Word of the day.
The word
More
is
like
a synthesis of the
vexillology.
Latin word vexillum and the Greek suffix logia.
I'm perfectly happy with this being an etymology podcast. I'm down for that,
Yeah,
too.
I love that. The dream come true.
I might be a little lost, but that's okay as long as you
You
guys
just make
can,
it up. I mean, that's what I do. Everyone just makes up.
Mhm.
That's the whole point of language.
Yeah.
Made up things.
So Isaac, on Twitter the past couple of days, you've been doing something that I don't quite get with the names.
Yeah.
What is that?
So recently, just because I thought it was fun, I found there's a website where if you type in a name, you can find like the etymology of it, the history, what the name means, if it's in a different language, or even in English and you don't know what names mean. And it'll give you a whole list of what this name is in, like what the equivalent is in different languages. And so I'm trying to pull up, I did one recently, and so it'll show you like this is what it is in French, and this is what it is in Finnish, or whatever. And so I think it's just kind of fun to, so I just, say, oh, this is what they all are. And so, for example, Richard is also Ricard, Rico, Ricardo, Richard, that's Polish, I think. Reichardt, Risteard, I have no idea how to pronounce Irish, Gaelic, whatever. And Riku in Finnish.
Ooh, that's my favorite. Riku.
And so...
Come
Finnish is
down,
very fun.
Riku. It's time for dinner.
It's interesting that that's all so similar, even though there's so many languages that I wouldn't really have tied together at all.
Exactly, yeah, there's Latin-based ones, Germanic ones, Slavic ones, but it's all... Yeah, and that's just... I like languages, and I like names and different languages, and it's a fun thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, you would have a Semitic background.
Those
What's
two.
my background?
So would I.
Yeah. Semitic.
Something about God.
Shamuel, yeah.
It's Samuel, sometimes spelled Samuel, which won't mean anything on an audio podcast, is a male given name of Hebrew origin, either meaning name of God or God has heard.
Yeah. So Shem.
Shem Elohim.
Yeah, Shem, El. Yeah, Elohim. El is just a shortened form of God, often used in the Old Testament to, denote the non-Hebrew gods.
Fun fact, my name, 3 books of the Bible. Yes, I'm taking both 1st and 2nd Samuel. That's not cheap.
Oh.
It's just what it is.
Okay.
I was wondering if there was one of them that's like the Hebrew word for smith, and I just didn't know. I was thinking
No.
about it too hard.
The gospel according to Smithy.
Like I don't know, Zechariah or something. What do I know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why we have
Nothing.
Taylor around.
Yeah.
I do flags. Taylor does language. Sam.
What do you do, Sam?
In 2 years, I'll do law.
Yay!
No, see,
Law,
speaking of that,
past-
the past like couple weeks, it's been weird. So I'm in law school, and it's a pretty big investment, both with time and with money. And so I feel like it's required, like at least 2 times a year, where you're questioning every decision that you're making with your life, you know. And so it's just like, and I realize. So, I mean, like, college is an investment in time and money, but, like, everyone, like, pretty much it's universally agreed that having a college degree is good for, like, lifetime earning and whatnot. And so with law school, I mean, obviously, like, the earnings for lawyers, it's pretty good. But that's not why I'm doing it, but it's still, like, it's 3 years that I'm putting into school where I'm not making money, instead I'm paying money, and then maybe I'll start being a lawyer in 5 months in, like, I'll hate it, you know? And so the last little bit, it's like in 2 years, hopefully I'll graduate from law school. But it's one of those things where recently it's just been like, what am I doing with my life? I just really, I'm not sure. But it's passed. It's passed. Don't worry, I'm good now.
At least you're in school. Like, I feel that almost every day not being in school, taking the gap year.
Yeah. What's your plan for the next year?
Well,
With you?
the plan kind of right now is to go back for a master's in teaching English as a second or foreign language. And I'm kind of toying with the idea right now of whether or not to get a K through 12 certificate. That would kind of open up a lot of things. I've been reading a lot about just education in general, education in America, and how just so much of it is like tough and hard to group into like one thing, because you know there's underprivileged schools, there's high-end private schools, there's everything in between those two, and like every teacher is taught a fairly similar way in their certificate or master's degree or in PhD or whatever they're doing. But it's like you can't really teach just one method. I mean, I know there's like the classical method, classical education method, and then there's the curriculum-based stuff. But I don't know, like I've been just thinking, what is my kind of role if I want to be a teacher someday? What path would I want to go? Because there's so many more than you kind of see from the outside. Which sucks. I mean, I'm not in school right now, so I have all this time to think and worry about it. Essentially.
Yeah. And the thing is, it doesn't really end once you're in school, because, you know, I started going to law school, and in my mind it was like, great, like I made a career choice, I'm gonna be a lawyer, like no stress about that at all. And then you get to law school, and immediately they're like, you gotta start thinking about what type of law you want to do, because there's like hundreds of types of law that you can get into and specialize in, and so it's like the decision is almost.
I hear they're hiring on the Supreme Court right now too.
Yeah, they're looking for a good judge. And I think that's me.
Yes, I'll phone call the over there in DC and say, hey, got a lawyer.
I mean, with the way it's going, it'll probably take another 2 years before they fill that hole. So,
which is insane. Like, I don't know how political we want to get on here, but that's just like that's very, very silly.
With this topic, we can get political because it's something I'm very fiery about. So go ahead, Isaac.
Heck yeah, I mean, I don't care. The whole thing, and there's so many split votes right now, which is so crazy. I mean, even in education, I can't remember the details, but it's a 4-4 split for some union thing.
Yeah, it was. So it's the right to work, and so I mean, I am not an expert by any means, and this is not any legal advice. I'm not allowed to give that, so don't take it as that.
Well, we're going to have to when we call up the White House to say we have a Supreme Court judge.
Because so it's like the idea that if you're working in a field in a specific region that has like a union that controls occupation, even if you're not a part of the union, you still have to pay dues.
Yeah, because they'll
which
protect
makes
you.
it so most people join the union.
Yeah.
And so, but if the union didn't have that capability, it would greatly weaken unions, because then there's plenty of people that wouldn't join, and then people would only hire those who were non-union workers that wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
And so there was the lower court decision was that it was fine that they did that they collected those dues, and then like you said, the Supreme Court was 4-4, and that has the effect of being deferring to the lower court.
Yeah.
And so there's so many things already that not filling that vacancy is just affecting the ability for the highest court of the land to do its job. Yeah.
It's odd.
The issue with that unions thing too is it's like if you choose, if you have the right to choose not to pay the union dues, but then the union's still working on your behalf, essentially it's like, you're getting the benefit and you're not paying in, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I guess your thoughts on this topic in particular come down to if you think that unions still serve a purpose, which personally I do. I think they should be strengthened. But overall, it's ridiculous that the Congress isn't even gonna give a hearing to Merrick Garland. The fact that they're not even willing to listen to him, to me, is just so frustrating. If they wanted to bring him in and then just vote no, at least I could respect that you're going through the motions. But right now, there's literally we're paying you. Our taxes are paying you right now to not do what you're supposed to be doing. And it's just so frustrating.
Exactly. I agree with you in that, if they held a vote and did not confirm him, that'd be one thing. But also, it's like, this dude is not some super liberal guy. He's got a very moderate track record. He's very, very centrist on a lot of issues. And it's like, they can't really have any, other than the fact that he's replacing a fairly conservative guy, they can't have any real, political objections to it, other than just, being obstructionist.
And he's about 10 years older than a normal Supreme Court appointee, which is a concession in and of itself, because you're essentially giving him 10 years less in a term on the Supreme Court. So there's just so many things that make it a ridiculous stance that the Republicans, well, mostly the Republicans, are taking.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can move on from the politics, because I think we said our piece, and it's
No, I think we should deconstruct the Obama doctrine and then go into the political race. We'll cast votes for New York, see what that's going to turn out, and whoever loses gets kicked off the podcast.
Very quickly, T-Swag, could you outline briefly the Obama doctrine for us?
Yes, please. What is...
Well, I wouldn't call it a doctrine. You see, the doctrine has Greek roots and other things. No, but really, I did read it. I don't think I could summarize it very well, just because I'm not really well versed in politics. But I think my favorite part. Oh boy, I just thought about this in the way back from work today. Come back to me. It'll come back.
What are you referencing when you say the Obama doctrine?
Jeffrey Goldberg's Atlantic essay.
Oh. Have not read that. I thought you were just misstating something.
Oh, no, sorry.
Well, I mean, I just wanted you to come up with, a bunch of things, but, you can summarize the real article too.
Yeah, I'll also summarize my Obama doctrine that I made up just now. No,
that's what the listeners want.
Yeah, that's what the listeners want. It's a huge article. It's online. I actually really recommend it. It gave me a lot of respect for Obama. I think it kind of revolves around the let's see, chemical weapons issue in
Syria.
Oh, sorry. Siri is talking to me right now. Sorry. Syria. Nope, didn't work again. But essentially, he drew up this red line and said, if you cross this, we're going to intervene. They cross it. Last minute. Let's see. John Kerry had this big old political, what they called a Churchillian speech about kind of intervening, and then kind of last minute Obama says, wait, no, we're not going to do anything right now. We're going to let him cross the red line. And that caused all kinds of controversy everywhere, especially in Great Britain, actually. David Cameron kind of had a crazy, not the David Cameron, the blogger, the lesser David Cameron, Prime Minister of England.
The much less favored.
The much less favored in every medium. So that's what it revolved around, but so much more than that. And I read it when it came out, so
sorry.
A while ago.
Speaking of David Cameron, have you guys been following this like Panama Papers thing that's been going on?
Yeah.
Because apparently it was like David Cameron's dad had something, and but he had a stake in it. Isaac, I think you're probably a little more versed than I am in what's going on. Or Taylor, one of you guys want to take this?
Isaac.
I mean, I don't know a whole ton of the details yet, but, basically it's a bunch of offshore account type deals, and we're seeing uncovered all these things, different countries and organizations funding North Korea and ISIS probably, and all these, it's just a giant vat of trillions of dollars that went unaccounted for, and we're finding out, oh, this paid for weapons to this group, and this paid, whatever else happened. And people like FIFA are getting involved. There's something about the president of Iceland who was involved.
Didn't he just resign too?
I think so, yeah.
Well, I think they said he resigned, but then later in the day he was like, oh, I didn't resign. I just stepped down for a little bit.
Oh, he went to the bathroom.
Exactly.
There's only one in Iceland. The wait's pretty long. But that's, I mean, the implications of what is found there, we can only really guess at so far until we have all the information public. But it's such an enormous chunk of money, and it's just unfathomable, really.
Huh.
Man, it's
I was
crazy
just thinking it was
like
the Eddie Van Halen album, The Panama Papers.
Ah.
Sorry, Sam,
Panama
go ahead.
Papers.
No, you're good. I mean, just when you think of trillions of dollars, like, it's so hard to really wrap your mind around a number that big.
Yeah.
But it's really like tens of trillions of dollars going hidden, and it's, I don't know. It's not, I mean, it's not, at least the act of putting things in offshore accounts, at least for United States laws, I don't think is, I think there's like legitimate loopholes you can take, but I still think it's a pretty, I mean, if you're doing the same thing that the people who are funding North Korea, and like you said, probably ISIS are doing, you're doing something that's probably pretty shady. But I guess if you take that logic to the extreme, I go to the bathroom, they go to the bathroom, that's probably pretty shady.
Yeah. Bathrooms often have shady connotations.
Lots of shade.
Often, yeah. One of my this is kind of totally off topic, but one of my best friends growing up had in the upstairs bathroom there was a skylight, and there you can't close skylights obviously, and I always had this obscene anxiety that there would be someone on the roof. Mind you, that's like 30 feet in the air to get on the roof, but I always had this massive anxiety every time I was in there going to the bathroom. It was so weird.
And now all the bad people unveiled in the Panama Papers have that same anxiety, except it's you. You're standing above the bathroom.
That's right.
And the bathroom of the Panama Papers have been now unveiled.
The world is watching through the skylight.
Who's watching?
Everyone taking their shady poopy dumps.
Trading multi-trillion-dollar stocks while on the toilet via Twitter. Oh man, it's gold.
Okay, something that I read today that I actually love is apparently SeaTac is possibly thinking of dropping the TSA as the private security. Seattle-Tacoma Airport is what SeaTac is. You guys know that. Dropping the TSA as their private security, which to me sounds amazing, because we keep hearing and seeing all these reports about how the TSA really doesn't do anything in terms of stopping people getting stuff through the checkpoints if they want to.
Yeah.
And really, all they do is just pat my balls and then move on. So it's like, I'm perfectly fine if we're gonna move on.
I haven't been in that room with the TSA, but you know.
You want to get rid of that kind of value? That's free, Jack. It's $20 downtown.
Well, see, there's this balance because I have a beard, and during the summer I can get pretty tan, but then my name is also Sam Smith, and so it's like there's a white name, but then I have a beard, so of course I'm a terror suspect.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. But
I haven't. I mean, you're the first person I've heard that from. I haven't done anything about that. I do know that. What's the thing about Washington State driver's license now that's not going to work soon at international airports? Well, dang. Now we're both stuck.
But, yeah, I don't know.
I heard somewhere
I have no
that a Washington state driver's license will not be effective, and you'll have to have a passport or something else.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it used to be like you could go to Canada and. Oh, you mean to fly rather?
To fly, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe,
so
you know.
I just looked it up, and apparently you can do so for when you're flying around the United States. You can use a state-issued. It's for all states, I believe, but
Okay.
but you probably just read it because you live in Washington, so it's what's relevant. And this is me literally just reading a news article, so it's not any special knowledge, but it's just in 2 years apparently that's no longer going to be good.
Yeah.
Get a passport.
Yeah.
I've had a passport
that
my
hard.
whole life, so it's not something I've ever worried about. But there's like federal real ID requirements, whatever those are.
Not a driver's license. It's not real.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay, so never mind. It's not for all states, but there are apparently there are 6 other
Just the
states
blue
and territories.
states.
So there's Washington, Illinois, Minnesota, Missouri, New Mexico, and American Samoa are non-compliant.
Great.
So, oh well.
Oh well. I don't like
Yeah.
flying anyway.
Just take the train.
Or walk or horseback or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's all.
You don't
I like
want to.
trains. I want to take a train somewhere.
I wish their
Mhm.
trains were
That'd be
more of a thing.
Seriously. Or even, I just wish, I wish domestic flying around the United States, I realize the United States is huge, but, was a little bit less expensive. Because I'm thinking, around Europe, which, again, terrible example because Europe's tiny and the United States is huge. But
like the same size.
you can go from, Ireland to France, and it's, $50. And I feel like that'd be like going from, Seattle to Spokane. It's a 4.5-hour drive. It's about an hour flight. But it's minimum at this point, 75 one way.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's because they're cartels. The airlines are cartels.
That's right.
Hey, where'd you hear that, Sam?
I don't know. I heard it from no
Panama
other podcast.
Papers.
That you should.
Well, speaking of flying places and other countries and American Samoa and who said languages? Languages.
Let's talk about languages.
So to tie this in briefly, after that brilliant segue, we were talking earlier about
Languages?
No, not before that. About not knowing what to do with your life.
Oh, yes.
And so to tie that in, one of those things is my mindset is always I want to be adding new skills and stuff so that I can be ready for a wider variety of situations. Right? So if I get some random offer that says, oh, go to Spain and be an accountant there for some reason or whatever.
Convenience.
If I
Yeah, you can be
If I know-
Messi's accountant.
Yeah. So if I know Spanish, that's going to be better for
Sure.
me. And so I've been starting to learn Spanish, which I have never learned any substantial part of through the website/app Duolingo,
Bienvenidos.
which is a very popular one. And so what I was wondering is, for both of you have learned languages that I have not learned, and what are some of your tips or tricks or things that you do outside of just flashcards and basic basic kind of study methods like that?
Well, I guess
Like, do you use any media or?
I have a question for you. So I also use Duolingo, but as you know, it's like it goes in sections, and so you have one thing to learn, and then you move on, and you kind of like the new sections. They try to kind of bring that into it, but you don't really have to like remember it perfectly, and usually you can figure out from context clues. And so I found myself just trying to like rush through to the very end because I'm doing that for Spanish to brush up, and then I'm trying to get better at French. But currently with French, I'm like 6 things through. And so my plan is to get all the way through as quick as possible, and then just like drill from there. Are you trying to more take your time, or are you kind of doing the same thing?
Well, here's the thing. So when I started Duolingo, the first thing I did was French, which I took 3 years of in high school, but then had never practiced really ever since then. And I did. So I had, maybe like 2/3 of the stuff I had learned, and another. Like the first third of it I actually remembered, and so I kind of tore my way through the stuff that I knew, while going back like every third day or something and practicing something that I had, something higher up on the tree. With Spanish though, it's like I'm taking more of my time to actually sit through and go, well, actually reinforce it, because the 1 minute that they spend on each mini lesson is not enough to actually teach you about whatever it is, participles or whatever you're learning.
Participles?
Participles. Plays. But I mean, what, I think that's partly a learning style thing too. But what I was wondering is I was trying to find, like, I tried to find a TV show to watch in Spanish or with Spanish subtitles to help. And so I watched the pilot of Arrested Development with Spanish subtitles, because it was a thing that I like, and it's a thing that I've seen, and I already know all the dialogue to and everything, and that was kind of fun. But I feel like that might not be the right choice, just because it's a very wordplay heavy kind of show.
Yeah,
I don't know, but have either of you used like watched media from the country or books or magazines or stuff like that?
Yeah, this is, I guess, all I know about learning languages has really come from Dr. Ewald, Greek professor. And kind of what he does.
Greek god.
Greek god, son of Odysseus. Oenus Ewaldus. No, so he kind of, you take your first year with him is a full grammar book. It's just all the way through, and then you read some practice things. But the second year is like, it's essentially learning via fire hose. That's his phrase. And he gives you one of the hardest authors in that language. For me, it was Euripides in ancient Greek. And he makes you translate sections, not the whole thing, because that would take a lot longer for only second year. He makes you translate sections, and when there's a new grammatical thing, a new vocab, you just look up vocab and you try to memorize it as best you can. But when there's a new grammatical thing, you learn it as it appears. And I think this only really works with dead languages, though. That's kind of why I'm tentative of like evangelizing this. But I also know that when it comes to media, my manager at work is fairly fluent in French. She goes to France a couple times a year and can speak it fairly well. But she watches, French films, but also has the subtitles on in French. So you're not only hearing, but also seeing it. You're not going to understand a lot of it. And I know since you just started Spanish, that won't really be useful unless you've memorized the entire show. I do think
something similar.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you got it.
I was just going to say, doing something you already enjoy in the other language, like reading your favorite book in Spanish, at least trying to, or watching, maybe not Arrested Development, maybe like The West Wing, something that's not word.
House of Cards.
House of Cards, yeah, House of Cards in Spanish. Something that's not so heavily wordplay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard it's like a good thing if you're going to do something like that to start off. So you watch it in English with Spanish subtitles, then you watch it in Spanish with English subtitles, and then you watch it like Spanish with Spanish subtitles. You kind of like make that progression.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I haven't done. I like listening to music, which is actually a big thing for me. And with French, is trying to figure out like a French-speaking artist that I enjoy listening to, because like you said, Taylor, I want to like listening to it, not just listen to it for the good stuff.
Yeah.
And so, there's like this hip hop artist Stromae. You guys probably heard of him.
Stromae.
I think he's Belgian, but speaks French, raps in French, and I really like listening to him. But the problem with hip hop and rap is the fact that it's it's like so fast, and oftentimes like it's just not like, the problem with listening to music in general is it's not quite how you speak it, and so it throws you off a little bit. But
Sure.
I enjoy doing that.
Like you could learn more phrases and grammar than like cadence or accent through it.
Yeah, exactly.
Having kind of been living with Marty for such a long time now, I love talking. He's in a master's program for computational linguistics, and he's crazy. It's a 1 year long thing, and then he's going to go off and have his dream job in like a few months, which he's already been accepted at. Anyway,
Was that in France?
jealousy cut. He didn't do the Paris one. He's doing one down in Portland.
Okay.
He says it's a little better in terms of like prospects and growth, even though the Paris one's like a dream. Anyway, I was talking to him about things like Google Translate and stuff like that, and he asked me like, what's the biggest problem you come across that? And obviously one of the bigger problems is you usually get a more literal definition, and they kind of go like, Google will take each word and translate it, then kind of piece it together as it would make sense in maybe a really elementary grammar, but you don't get any what's the word? So when you're
Nuance?
nuance, that's part
Flow?
of it. What's when something's like a part of your culture and you say it? What's that word?
Oh,
Idioms. You don't get any idiomatic. Sorry, wow, I just can't think right now. And that's the problem with digital translation, and I think a big problem with that, or at least a big fix to that big problem, would be like explanations as to why certain words are used. For example, like in French, it's a you decline each word. There's different forms of a single word, where it's a little bit like that in English, but we don't learn it that way. We don't learn first person plural, second person plural, third person plural. We just learn it how it sounds, essentially. But in like a digital translation, you never see that. You just kind of get the translation as if you're learning a funny way to speak English. And I think trying to separate the languages as far away as possible, and then learning how each one is a different language, instead of trying to just make a mega language with different ways to say a certain thing. That's the other thing in like in ancient Greek and Hebrew. It's like you're not learning an old way to speak English. You're learning a whole different culture while learning English. Or the Greek, yeah. I have this book that I haven't read yet. It's called Becoming Fluent. And it's just like, it's about adult language learning. And there's that whole thing where adults can't learn a language. You have to learn it when you're, a fetus, or you're never going to get it. But this book is essentially arguing against that, which is cool. And once I read it, Isaac, I'll let you borrow it for sure.
You should definitely update us as you're reading it too, because that sounds fascinating.
Yeah, I think it's MIT Press too. It's a good one.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of which, I got both of the books that you guys talked about last time. So,
what do we talk about?
War of Savage Peace?
War of Savage Peace and the Yale History of America.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
Have you started either of those?
I started the Yale one, yeah.
You like it?
Yeah.
It's neat, yeah.
Yeah, I love how it's really, fast paced, but I really like how he describes things.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that far into it, but I do like his style, and I haven't sat down to read a comprehensive U.S. history thing in I don't know how long, so it's very good.
Sweet.
It's fun.
You should definitely keep us updated as you're reading through those too.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil the Civil War for you.
I hear
The
there's
War of Northern Aggression.
No, after the Civil War, there's this awesome epic thing called the Reconstruction that worked perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
wait. Oops.
So many building projects, you know?
Yeah, you know, break a few windows, have a civil war, suddenly the glaziers are in big bucks.
Yeah. Exactly. Cool. Well, it was
Yeah.
good talking to you guys.
Oui, monsieur.
Well,
That's
oui, oui.
Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Isaac, I like that you're learning Spanish. I'm trying to convince Marty to translate French things with me. I don't know the French. I'm going to make him do all that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you know some Spanish,
Yeah,
Tay?
no.
I took 2 years in high school, but it was kind of like one of those jokes where you don't really learn much.
Education?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Oh, man.
We should have a Spanish corner where we just talk in Spanish.
What?
We should have a Spanish corner where we just talk in Spanish every once in a while.
Oh, okay. That sounds
boy.
great.
Nosotros hablamos en español.
Wow. See,
See.
he beat me.
I don't know the future forms yet, so I can't. Yes, we will. The real motivation for me to learn Spanish, in addition to just having it as a life skill, is also in Duolingo. You can learn Catalan in Spanish,
Oh, really? Heck yeah.
Oh.
which is like as a geography, history,
Nerd.
minority language hipster nerd. That hits me.
Mhm.
That's rad.
buttons.
That's like level 2 Duolingo, too. Like, taking it up.
A
and stuff.
language in a different language, yeah.
Crazy.
And like enough people, Catalan it's useful in a very narrow band of the world, but I would imagine people in Barcelona, if I went there and started speaking Catalan to them, would freak out at an American knowing what Catalan is, never mind, knowing any words in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
That's rad.
We should
No,
go
that's
on a
cool.
Spanish trip once you feel confident. We all three of us go to Spain together.
And you can be our translator, Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
Ah. All right, that's a good goal.
Sounds good.
Good goal. We'll use all our profits from the podcast to go to Spain.
Yeah, man. McDonald's
I
money.
really want to
Yeah.
go. I really want to go to.
Still waiting on that first
Pamplona.
check.
Yeah, right.
Mm.
Go run with
You wanna go where to?
Run with the bulls in Pamplona.
Mm.
There you go.
I heard One Direction did that.
Oh, I don't want to do that anymore.
Okay.
I heard Hitler
Oh
did it.
God.
Hitler did it better.
Mark that as 3755 in the.
I mean, so that's a lot later than our last one, but we'll work
Yeah, the
on
last
it.
one I did it in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
I'm not trying to do it.
Okay. Yeah. You just practice it for next week. It's okay. We'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
Cool. Hey, it's great.
I'm going to go to bed.
Great chatting. Yeah. Isn't it like 3 a.m. in Spokane right now?
Yeah, it's so far ahead.
3:30.
It's actually like 5, but it's okay. I'll wake up early for you guys.
It's already tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, cool.
Thanks for hanging with us today at Airship Archaeology. Join us again next time for more scintillating discussion. I, for one, cannot wait. I have been the announcer guy, and I'm signing off. Cheerio.